Hello there everyone, it is me, Chris, or MC Whacker from Epic Walkthroughs here today. Alright, so we're going to be doing another computer video for you guys today, and today it's going to be, and I think I just said today like 17 times. You can go back and check today, or not, because that's cool. So pretty much what we're going to be doing is we're going to be having a look at if CPU, or if overclocking in general is worth it based on the gameplay increases, the temperatures, and the noise level that comes from the computer. So we're going to be taking a look at 3 different games today that are kind of like in the middle of everything, that really test a lot of different stuff. We got the Counter-Strike Source, 4x AA, maxed out all other settings. GTA 4 with the same settings for both of them. They're both going to be maxed out in everything except the view distance. And the view distance is going to be the same on both of them. And we're going to be doing Crysis 2, or not Crysis 2, but Crysis 1, but maxed out at 2x AA on this 1080p. And if you're wondering what this weird frickin' background is, this is a Zomboy Game Time EP. You can buy it on Beatport if you're a fan of any sort of glitchy dubstep music, electronic, you know. It's awesome. Really recommend it. So that's why I have that. So without further ado, let's get started. And we're going to be going to the CPU, no overclock, and GPU no overclock for Counter-Strike Source. Okay, here we are in Counter-Strike with the CPU overclock and GPU overclock. The GPU is overclocked to 1945 on the core, and can't believe I can't remember this. This is pathetic on my part, but 1200 on the memory. So, and the CPU is overclocked at 3.7 gigahertz, and as you can see, we are completely not maxed out at everything. I think I was using a different computer last, and it saved that to the Steam cloud, so that's kind of pathetic. So we got 4x AA. Everything else, as you can see, is completely maxed out, except for these two. Let's see if I can get fraps. There we go. Fraps at 300 FPS. So we're going to apply that, and we're going to do the video stress test. Alright, let's do this. And here we are right at the end of the benchmark, and we are going to go around the corner, and we're going to be done here. Alright, and let's see. You probably can't see that, but it does say 262.9 FPS. Let's see if I can get that. Focus up, and there we go. Alright, there it is. So, Counter-Strike. There you go. Alright, so next up we're going to be testing GTA 4. Alright, here we are with GTA 4. These are the settings that I will be running it at. And I think that's pretty clear on the camera. That should be looking okay. Let's focus that a little bit better. Sorry guys, I'm still a noob with the camera. So we're going to be running the test right now. This is with CPU overclocked and GPU overclocked, if you couldn't tell, and this is more of a reminder myself when I go to edit the video. Bam. No. Where are we going? Oh, benchmark down here. Benchmark. Benchmark tool requires the game to load. No, that's not okay. That's gonna ruin the system. Alright, so let's see at the end of this. Alright, here we are at the end. And the average FPS was 55. Oh, wait, let's go back. The average FPS was 55.24. Very playable in my opinion. And we'll see how that varies, or well, this is the end of the video, so I should not shoot these things in such a wacky order. Next up, Crysis, CPU overclock, GPU overclock. Let's do this. Okay, well I had a bit of a problem getting the Crysis benchmark to work, so without further ado, we are going to go to Haven, because that's what works. So we're running it at everything, tessellation extreme, shaders high, anisotropy 16, and 2 times anti-aliasing. So let's do this. This is the GPU, overclock, and CPU overclock. So we'll see on the other side where we have the results. Alright, we just completed the Haven benchmark, and as you can probably see on the screen, the FPS is 23.8. Okay, so there it is. This is for the CPU overclock and GPU overclock. I'll zoom that in a little bit. There you go, guys. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good in my opinion. Minimum FPS was 9.8 and maximum was over 60. So you got a whole broad range of stuff, and we'll see how that changes in the end up. The next thing we're going to look at is I'm going to do all these other benchmarks off camera just to save the time of you guys and the memory for my camera. So we're going to be looking at some burn-in tests, benchmark tests for temperature for the CPU next, and we're going to have the non-overclocked version first, and I'm going to run 30 minutes of Prime 95 and see the results after that, and then overclock it, and then do a bunch more stuff. So in a couple minutes, or in a couple seconds in reality, I mean, you guys are the interwebs, so we'll see that in a couple seconds. Well, bam! It's probably going to be an hour for me, so
alright, what's up, everyone?
Goodbye.
Until then.
That's a weird intro, because we're not what's up, everyone's. We are back, once again, and we are going to be doing some Prime 95 testing now. These are complete, so if you want to pause the video right then, which you probably could have, and see the finished results, it may be surprising to some of y'all, maybe, but we'll see when we get into the thing at the end of the video, where we just discuss everything. So now we're going to be doing Prime 95 for 30 minutes on an overclock and a non-overclock. And then afterwards we're going to be looking at the price per, or the FPS per, what would it be? Celsius, degree, pretty much price per degree. Or price, why do I keep saying price? FPS per degree, okay? So that's what we're going to be looking at. So we're going to be doing this large FTTs. We're on a non-overclock right now, if you want to see that. There it is right there. We're at 26 degrees right now, no overclock at all. I should have mentioned this earlier in the video, but I'm running a AMD Phenom X2, or Phenom 2 X6 1090T, and my CPU cooler is the, if you could probably guess from the previous unboxings that I have on my channel, which you can go back just a couple videos, I am using the Corsair A70 CPU cooler. So without further ado, let's get stress testing. Oh, and I'm also using the AMD Radeon HD 6870, sorry, I'm completely blanking on words here. So, here we go. We'll see you I'm going to run this for 30 minutes, then overclock it, then run it for 30 more minutes. So we'll see you on the other side, everyone. And I'm also going to be doing a noise level test. So, goodbye.
Let's go.
Alright, we are going to be doing the overclocked version of Prime 95 now. I am running at 3.7 gigahertz, as you guys probably already figured out earlier on. And we're going to be running for this for 30 minutes, just like the last one. So here we go, and the noise will be included too. Well, they'll be simultaneous at the end. I will see you in 30 minutes when we run for mark. Okay, I got the results of that one. Now we're going to be not removing, but moving on to the Furmark. So I'm going to run that for 30 minutes, and then we will see how hot the CPU or the GPU gets. So, and then after that, I'll overclock it again, and then we'll get back to you and have the final results. Yeah. Alright, so I'm going to be running Furmark and Sasha or Franchi is over there on Omegle, being a mature adult. You sure know how to do it, man. Sure know how to do it. And we're going to be burn-in test, so we'll see you in a couple million years. Good. I'm just saying go at your own risk, but I'm hardcore. I'm pro. Alright, peace, y'all.
That was really stupid. Peace, y'all.
Okay, I just bumped up the core clock and the memory clock on my graphics card, so they are now at glitch level, because that just glitched out, so I gotta put that back in. Enter and apply. Okay, so they are at, the core clock is at 945 megahertz, and the memory clock is at 1200 megahertz. So let's go for the last leg. We're on the final leg, and I'll meet you on the other side, and we're gonna be wrapping this video up. Alright, here we go. Alright, I've finished all the testing, and this light should probably go on. That's going to probably make it a little bit better to see. But, so we finished all the testing, and the results are somewhat as you would expect from an overclock. You know, you're getting better performance at an increased temperature and noise level. But I think the most shocking part is that, well, let's have a look at this right here. So, of course you can't see that, so I'm just going to write this down right now. Okay, so let's have a look at the chart.
Take you off the tripod. Okay, so here's the chart right here. Now, my chicken scratch handwriting is probably a bit difficult to read. The fact that I can't focus it doesn't help. Okay, so pretty much let's just get this started right now. So, the CPU was 3.2 gigahertz before, then I overclocked it to 3.7. Okay, that's... focus on this, and it's not working, so pretty much this is best it's gonna get. And the GPU overclock was 900 to 1050, and I made that go up to 945 to 1200. Okay, so let's look at the games. So the first game that I tested was Counter-Strike Source. Okay, and as you can see, it did well. At with this is the no overclock on anything. It got 252.56 with no overclock on anything. That's pretty much right out the box right there. Okay, and if we go over to the next one, this is going to be not a surprise, but the CPU no overclock and the GPU overclock. Excuse the phone. I gotta turn that ringer off. Sorry, guys. The GPU overclock, but the CPU no overclock, got that to 259.50 FPS. With the CPU overclock and no GPU overclock, I got 256.6, and with the CPU and GPU overclock, I got 262.9. So I guess you could say I fairly get, this is probably the most accurate one, I would say, because it's not really a GPU intense game, whereas, it's not really a CPU intense game, but you can tell that the CPU is actually, when I overclocked it, it was doing better than the base one. I gained 4 FPS. Now the next one, I'm a little bit unsure. I think everything is just so close that you couldn't really call it an even. So no overclock on anything. I got 54.56 or 46. Next one, 53.86 on the GPU overclock, which was confusing to me. Then we got the CPU overclock, which does make sense, the 56.42 and 55.52 or 42. Jesus, what is this? Unprofessional hour? Okay, my apologies for the interruption, guys. I had a phone call that I had to deal with, but as I was saying about GTA 4, they are all within the realm of it being just chance, really, because I mean, with scores that are that close, I would think that those are all just, like, it's not surprising that the unoverclocked one is the lowest, pretty much, other than the overclocked GPU, which didn't make sense to me. So, and then Heaven, we got predictable, 22.3, 23.7, 22.4, and 23.8. Pretty much the overclock is the one that did it. So, I mean, that's really not surprising to me. What may be surprising to you guys is the temperatures that they are at. Most people don't overclock because of the temperatures. I'm at 0.5 gigahertz higher for my CPU, okay? So the 39.4 or 39 was what it was originally at. Base, after 30 minutes of Prime 95, okay? I bump it up 0.5 gigahertz and it's only 2 degrees more. So, and the funny thing is that goes the same exact for the GPU as well. So, in my opinion, guys, I think that I'm going to have to say that, well, let's just set this back down and I'll get back on the tripod, or get it back on the tripod. So pretty much what I'm trying to say, guys, is that if you've been holding out on overclocking because you think that it's going to do some damage to your computer, it's too loud, or it's whatever, and all the factors you can see, you're getting improved gameplay experience without almost any sort of drawback, because as you can see, you got the A9, the 2 degrees difference. That is pretty much what I'm trying to say, is you only got 2 degrees difference, and that's on the auto fan setting for both of these. So if that is what is happening, that's the only thing with straining you, go ahead, overclock, And although I just want to make a disclaimer, before you overclock, you got to make sure that your motherboard is, if you have a pre-built computer, I would not recommend overclocking, because the parts are very, very low quality, and it's easy to burn your motherboard, your GPU, your PSU out right quick. So be careful, guys, but have fun overclocking. This is Chris from Epic Walkthroughs, or MC Whacker, whichever one you prefer. This video has taken me, I started at 2 o'clock, it's 7 o'clock now, so it's a 5-hour experience, but you know what, it's for you guys, so it's a lot of fun, and this video has been very informative to me, as well as a lot of fun, and yeah, thanks for you guys for watching, and have a good day. Goodbye!